Alright, everybody be careful, I'm gonna rock the boat. But I have lost 8.5 pounds in the last 2 weeks, so hey. Yeah. Anyway, my name is Francis Crowder, I'm District 1. We want to welcome you to District 1. We're thankful for all the goodies that we can get over here. I always brag about the citizens of District 1. We pay the most taxes in Anderson County, and they get the least feedback. My council members ignoring me back here. We want to welcome you to this tremendous event today. I especially want to appreciate Councilman Ken Waters, the Honorable Chairman Tommy Dunn, the Most Honorable Mike Gambrell, of course Matt Shell, who has actually been the driving force for this project, and Mr. Self, who is with the Department of Natural Resources. And we're expecting him to let loose some 18-inch rainbow trout out here for us to test drive. Yeah. At this time, I would like to have our invocation. May we pray together. Our eternal God, as we look about your creation, and especially this venue that we are sitting at this morning, and see the beautiful lakeside, I see the water, be able to go up to Main Street and look up Clemson Boulevard and see on a clear day the mountains of upper South Carolina, to be able to get in our cars and drive about 5 hours and be at a beautiful ocean side. We know, Lord, that while we may not live in the Garden of Eden, it's certainly a most valuable spot in South Carolina to call home. We thank you for this lake. It is a rare jewel for us to be able to honor and appreciate in days to come. We thank you for the opportunity to dedicate this wonderful facility that hopefully many grandparents, parents, and children will take advantage of. I thank you for that, and now I ask your rich blessings upon our nation, our state, and our county. In your precious Son's name I pray. Amen. This time I'd like to call on the Honorable Mike Gambrell at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Crowder. On behalf of the Anderson County Delegation, and especially on behalf of Representative Brian White, who's this wonderful facilities in his district, he had to be at another event this morning, and I was graciously asked to stand in for him. It's been said many times, tourism is economic development, and that's all very true. People have no idea what quality of life issues plague when we start to go to talk to industry and companies to come to Anderson County. And having a high quality of life is one of the tools that we use. It's very high on the list that we get asked for by companies. The Brown Road Fishing Pier and boat ramp, along with the recently completed Green Pond facility and landing and event center, raises the quality of life in our county just exponentially. It's attracted to things like we had the great Bassmaster tournament that was here, which brought untold publicity to our county. And with this and that venue, they're going to open up many diverse opportunities for family-friendly recreation as well as professional competitions. That, let's face it, in 2007, the Bassmaster tournament pumped $17 million into our county. You have 2 counties, and I'm satisfied this year's will be even better. Hunting and fishing license dollars are what help build facilities like this. The one like we're dedicating today, the Brown Road Pier. And it's why it's important to promote water and recreation activities and sports, but mostly importantly, we need to provide accessible venues where all residents and visitors can enjoy these sports. And on behalf of the Anderson County Delegation, I'm proud to be a part of the project, and I look forward to enjoying this venue with myself and all members of the delegation and our families. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Keep those dollars coming into Anderson County for parks, recreation, and tourism. At this time, I'd like to call on actually the driving force behind this project. His enthusiasm far exceeds expectation, not only for the Green Pond, but also for the Brown Road Landing, for the kayaking on the Saluda River. I know you like that, don't you? Now you just want some more stuff over there, don't you? Huh? Yeah, I do. And it's an honor to have his leadership under Glenn Brill and the other staff members of Parks, Recreation, and Tourism as they try to cultivate the kind of atmosphere in Anderson County where people will appreciate the thing that the Lord has given us, the great outdoors. And so at this time, I'll call on Matt to come forward and present his part of the program. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Mr. Crowder. Brown Road Fishing Pier represents a generation of water-based recreation projects that have been located on Lake Hartwell or the Saluda River in the past 7 years. These are 3 sibling projects. One grew up to be a kayak launch on the Saluda River, so a river-based project. One grew up to be a high-capacity boat ramp, accommodating the local community, the upstate, as well as international and national attention. The other project, Brown Road, is geared to the community of Anderson County, to the residents in neighboring counties. This pier is an ADA accessible floating pier, which, besides the underlying theme between all of our water-based projects is universal access, inclusion for recreation. So this meets and exceeds ADA compliance by leaps and bounds. It's something that we're all very much proud of. The 10-foot wide gangway, the 80 feet long, allows us to get safely down some of the topo change in the lake. The end of the fishing pier behind me actually sits above 14 feet of water. So whereas when people recognize that the water's down, they see it here first. Where the boat ramp goes out, the fishing crew will still be active. During the spawn, it'll be a very popular facility. It is actually already today. This past Sunday, Glenn was driving by and counted 19 people on the pier. Some of the folks weren't even fishing; they were just enjoying the view and be able to walk out and surround themselves with water. So there's a peaceful, passive recreation component here at Brown Road, something that we're all very much proud of, and it's something that's drawn a lot of attention. The litter that we have seen on the pier has been new lure wraps, worm bags, things of that sort. So, what we're seeing is an immediate turnaround to some of the local businesses, Grady's, some of the other stores locally. This project is actually a 3-year construction project. It was actually installed in 2 phases. The initial design was a land-based improvements, giving us the ADA truck trailer parking space along with accessible routes to and from the courtesy dock and up to the spectator parking area, which is just north of this pier. Those were completed about 3 years ago. The designers were Arbor Engineering and S&S Construction was the GC. Both was a phenomenal work from beginning to end. The project really came to a monumental conclusion with this recent installment, which was designed by Seaman Whiteside as well as Applied Technologies Management. Sandy Hanebrink with Touch of Future played a critical role in both phases to ensure that the ADA compliance was either being met or exceeding expectations. Both sites are fully ADA accessible, and which makes them just that much more user-friendly to the public. The construction was actually implemented by a local contractor as well, the Belk Company. David Belk had a list of had subs that were also equally had high expectations and high integrity as well. Miller Construction played a critical role in getting us down to this point and putting in the abutment. Tom Child with Marine Specialties, he's the one responsible for actually putting this in place. Tom was also the installer out at Green Pond, so his experience and his quality of work was certainly appreciated on both sides. Before Brown Road Pier actually even came to this cove, its benefit was realized over at Green Pond. It was important when we were trying to accommodate and make preparations for the Bassmaster Classic that we had all the professional anglers on some sort of dock surface. With the pier system that we have in there, even though it's 250 feet long, it was not going to be able to accommodate all the anglers. So Brown Road Pier, on its way to this location, was actually installed temporarily at Green Pond for use during the classic. It put an additional 17 or 18 boats on aluminum docks and kept the red mud off of everybody's carpet. That was something that the professional anglers greatly appreciated. That's something that really meant a lot to bass, and that's something that our credit we have to give and give thanks to those that made that possible. Dennis Landrum, he's here today. He runs a business out in Greenville. He's an Anderson County resident. Portronix Fishing World took on the lion's share of a change order to actually make that possible. So we want Dennis is in the back, but if you all turn around, Dennis, raise your hand, please. We certainly appreciate what you've done. We certainly appreciate what you've done to reach out, to assist and partner with Anderson County on these type of water-based recreation projects and events. Along with Dennis, there are also Knight's Custom Lures also contribute to the change order. There was Lake Hartwell Lake, Don and Patty Cleveland, as well as Marty Walker with Palmetto Boat Center. They all really made this a worthwhile investment, even just from that perspective. Berkeley Line and Baits. Berkeley is the official line and bait of bass, so I have to kind of incorporate that into just so everybody knows what Berkeley is. But Berkeley also played a role in the change order. So something we all as a county greatly appreciate, is nothing that the taxpayers had to pay to help install. With that said, this facility has partners similar to Green Pond. It probably has it actually has identical partners. The unanimous support from all of our partners and agencies. This project could not be implemented without the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers for again setting property aside for use in public recreation more than 60 years ago. The National Heritage Corridor played a significant role in actually paying for half of this dock to go in. So there's a lot of agencies working together to help partner and shoulder this type of investment, this type of improvement in quality of life in Anderson County. The one component, the one agency that's played probably the largest role in this is South Carolina Department of Natural Resources. I'm sorry, Legislative Delegation. Legislative Delegation, certainly monster role. Yes, sorry. I felt a dart in my back. I was like, oh man, okay, all right. So, Legislative Delegation has helped us actually with all of these projects. So these three projects in Anderson County have all been able to get started, get rolling with the support of Legislative Delegation. They, in turn, work close hand in hand with the Department of Natural Resources for the grant opportunities. Ross Self, who's going to come up and speak in a second, Ross Self was there from the napkin sketches and the even informal proposals up to the formal proposals for all three projects, Brown Road, Green Pond, and the kayak launch at Dolly Cooper. Ross has played a pivotal role in helping steer us in the direction of funds, helping facilitate funds to help build these facilities. With that, none of these projects could be here without the support of Ross. We're certainly very thankful that he was able to make it here today and be present at all of our ribbon cuttings and all of our grand openings. And with that, I'll turn this over to Ross Self. Thank you.
Matt, that was too kind. I don't know if I deserve that much credit. I just kind of watched all this stuff happen. I'm real happy to be here again. This is, once again, I'm here in two capacities. I serve as the chief of the freshwater fishery section for the Department of Natural Resources, and facilities like this are very important to the department, to our fisheries boats, because these provide shore-based angler opportunities, which is something that we struggle to identify and provide. It's not that hard for folks to go fishing in boats. There's a lot of places they can put a boat in and go fishing, but if you don't have a boat, if you got small children, you're not comfortable taking them out on the water, it's very difficult to find quality places that are safe and easily accessible that you can bring your family and fish from the bank or fish from a fishing pier. And those are the kind of things that we've identified that we need to work on improving around the state, both in the small impoundments we manage and in the major reservoirs that we're part of the management of. So from the DNR's perspective, we're very excited to see another land-based fishing opportunity be made available, and we appreciate Anderson County stepping up and taking that initiative and having that vision to provide these types of opportunities. My other capacity is I'm the administrative chair of the Natural Resource Trustee Council that oversees the settlement dollars from the PCB Settlement from the Schlumberger PCB contamination in the lake, and have been involved with that for a long time. And Anderson County was early to engage with the trustees as we were beginning to develop the fishing compensation plan. Helped us facilitate and provided space for public meetings and places we could get public input from folks on things that were being proposed. And through that process, the public around the lake made it very clear that these are exactly the types of facilities they wanted to see. They would like to see those recreational fishing dollars applied to. And from the trustee council perspective, we're very excited to see a lot of these projects finally coming to fruition and providing some of the opportunities that were envisioned in that compensation plan. And just to remind you, the trustee council is made up of Georgia Department of Natural Resources, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, South Carolina Department of Health and Environmental Control, and the DNR. And on behalf of that group, I would like to express my appreciation and gratitude to Anderson County for making this type of facility possible, and to congratulate them on the great success they've had in applying those settlement dollars to projects that are really going to mean something to folks. We were here for the event at Green Pond with bass. Anderson County could not have done a better job of working with bass. Bass are not easy approach to work with, by the way. but y'all did a tremendous job in facilitating that event and being prepared for all that host of contingencies that had to be dealt with the little twist in the weather that weekend. So I've really admired the way Anderson County has come to the table and been prepared to deal with these things and followed through on projects and proposals. And you couldn't have a better fellow than Matt Shell up here leading this charge. And he's been persistent but not obnoxious, and that's a rare set of qualities. So, on behalf of the Trustee Council, Department of Natural Resources, again, I appreciate being here. We're thrilled to see this facility opening and be made available to the public. This is one of 6 fishing piers that were being constructed as a part of that settlement. There's 2 more on the books in other parts of the lake. Y'all set the bar very high with this facility. This is an outstanding design, outstanding location. So again, congratulations, and I appreciate Anderson County's efforts. And on behalf of DNR and the Natural Resource Trustees, I'd just like to say thank you once again.
The other thing too that DNR is going to play a role in the future is they're actually going to be making some fish habitat improvements around Brown Road Pier. So that's something to improve. There's also been a masked bandit that's been dropping Christmas trees around, already trying to help this situation. We won't point any fingers, but it's certainly to the betterment of the anglers and the people around. So we certainly thank all efforts for those habitat enhancement projects around Brown Road. With that time, I'd like to ask Mr. Crowder to come up if you'd join me in the ribbon cutting, everybody behind us. We're going to actually draw a ribbon across the... Yes, sir.
Thank you. You know, fishing has been an integral part of my life. I can remember at the age of 6, 7, 8, 9, my dad coming home after work and say, "You want to go to the lake?" And I said, yes. We went numerous times during the spring and summer. We didn't have a wonderful facility like this. In fact, we had to park out on some open grass and walk about 2 miles to the lake through grass and woods of Lake Greenwood before it had been fully developed. I remember us going by the grocery store and buying a can of pork and beans and a little can of Vienna sausage and a little pack of saltine crackers and 2 ball cokes, we called them back then, and for us to head out to the lake. It was a wonderful time. My dad and I could fellowship together. We could bond as no other way because my dad was a very avid fisherman. He was not the kind that touted about his catches, but he knew how to catch fish. and he passed that on to me. I think about those times often. You probably say, well, you're just saying that because you're here today, but that's not the case. I reflect upon those good old days that I had with my dad. Now you say, what's that got to do with today? Well, I encourage dads, mothers, grandparents to bring their kids to places like this and be able to bond as no other way that you can bond. You can come out here and see God's great creation and hopefully catch some fish. But by the same token, I hope you will be a catch and release fisherman. I've always been a catch and release fisherman. I've had the opportunity to fish as far north as Alaska, to the Florida Keys, to both sides of the Everglades, and up and down the coastal waterways of South Carolina. And everywhere I went, I released the fish. If we do not do that, we deplete our fish stock. And so we will not have the availability of that kind of fish in our lakes unless we preserve that which we have. Now, that's not to say that occasionally we don't take a few fish to go home, because I can remember Crappie frying in the black frying pan and the grease popping, and my mom making homemade hush puppies. Those were wonderful old days. So I hope that you will appreciate this environment, and that you will, if you have children, make available the opportunity to come out here and use this wonderful facility. Now, sir, I'm at your pleasure. What do you want to do next? You're in charge.
Right now we're gonna draw rhythm across, and then everybody will join me up here to cut the fish.
You'll find them a fish, put it on their hook.